The storm had been relentless, tossing the ship like a toy in the waves until the hull finally gave way. When the ship sank, its passengers were either claimed by the sea or scattered across the open ocean. One survivor, Sam, a determined and resourceful deckhand, clung to a piece of debris and drifted for what felt like days before the waves carried him to the shore of an uncharted island. Exhausted but alive, Sam staggered to the sandy beach, his body bruised and battered from the ordeal. The island appeared desolate at first glance. Jagged cliffs lined the shore, and the thick jungle beyond was eerily silent, with no sounds of birds or insects. As Sam explored, he came across an old lighthouse perched on the highest point of the island. The structure was ancient, its stone walls weathered by time, but to Sam's surprise, the light at the top still flickered faintly, casting weak beams across the sea. Inside the lighthouse, Sam found remnants of what appeared to be an abandoned research station. There were rusted tools, decaying furniture, and a cluttered desk filled with old maps and papers. Most importantly, he found the radio, his lifeline. It was in disrepair, but Sam, a skilled mechanic, believed he could fix it with time. It was his only chance of calling for rescue. As he set to work on the radio, something began to gnaw at his instincts. The lighthouse wasn't just old, it felt wrong. The deeper he delved into its secrets, the more he uncovered strange diagrams and cryptic notes about experiments conducted on the island. The research dated decades ago spoke of altering human DNA, transforming the body to survive under extreme conditions. Sam's blood ran cold as he read about failed trials, subjects who had changed, and how the experiments were eventually shut down. Night fell and the lighthouse became oppressively dark. Strange noises echoed from the jungle, low guttural sounds that no animal could have made. Sam realized with growing horror that the island wasn't uninhabited after all. Someone or something was out there, watching. Determined to escape the island, Sam worked tirelessly on the radio during the day, but the eerie sounds from the jungle continued to unsettle him. Occasionally, he caught glimpses of movements out of the corner of his eye, a shadow too quick to identify, a flash of something unnatural slipping between the trees. The island was alive with a presence that felt hostile, alien. Sam's fears escalated when he discovered a hidden door beneath the lighthouse, concealed under a pile of debris. Behind it was a dark staircase leading to a subterranean lab, untouched for decades. The air was thick with mildew, but the equipment, though rusted and outdated, still hinted at the island's dark past. On the walls were faded pictures of people, test subjects, according to the notes, who had volunteered for something called Project Beacon. The experiments designed to enhance human adaptability had aimed to create a new kind of life form capable of surviving the harshest of conditions. But the notes revealed something chilling. Many of the subjects had gone mad during the experiments. Some had developed heightened senses, while others had become grotesque, inhumane versions of themselves, their bodies twisted by the genetic modifications. The research abruptly ended, leaving the fate of the test subjects a mystery. Suddenly, the faint hum of machinery filled the lab. Sam froze, his heart pounding. It couldn't be. How was anything still operational after all these years, and who had turned it on? As he turned to leave, the shadows moved. A figure stepped into the dim light, its body hunched and unnatural, its skin pale and stretched tight over bones that were no longer quite human. Sam's stomach churned as he realized that the inhabitants of the island weren't merely descendants of those experiments. They were the subjects themselves, warped beyond recognition, still alive after all this time. The creature let out a low growl, its eyes reflecting an intelligence that sent a shiver down Sam's spine. He bolted up the stairs, heart racing, with the creature close behind, but it stopped at the entrance of the lighthouse, as though bound by some invisible force. Sam slammed the door shut, his mind reeling from the revelation. Whatever these creatures were, they were trapped on the island with him, and now they knew he was there. Fear gnawed at Sam as he barricaded the lighthouse door. He realized that the inhabitants of the island were the results of the twisted Project Beacon, experiments gone wrong. These creatures had once been human, but their bodies and minds had been altered beyond recovery. Worse, they had been waiting, surviving in the darkness for decades, and now Sam's presence had awakened them. Sam's only hope was the radio. It was almost functional, just one more component needed repair. But time was running out. The creatures, though they avoided the lighthouse, for some reason were growing bolder, and Sam knew it was only a matter of time before they found the way inside. With the weight of survival on his shoulders, Sam worked tirelessly, barely sleeping as the sounds of the creatures outside grew louder. Their inhumane whispers and low growls made his skin crawl. His hands shook as he soldered the final piece into place. At last, the radio crackled to life. A faint signal someone was out there. Sam grabbed the mic and began sending out a distress call, praying that anyone would hear him. Suddenly, the lighthouse trembled. The creatures had begun to batter the doors with unnatural strength, their growls filling the air. Sam knew he had only minutes before they broke through. Just as he finished the distress call, the door cracked, and the creatures poured in, their grotesque forms writhing in the flickering light. Thinking quickly, Sam dashed up the spiral staircase to the top of the lighthouse. His only hope was the beacon itself. He grabbed a rusted wrench and broke the control panel, causing the beacon to blaze with blinding light. To his amazement, the creatures recoiled in pain, their twisted bodies unable to withstand the intense brightness. They hissed and screeched, retreating into the shadows. Sam stood in the tower, gasping for breath, watching as the creatures disappeared back into the jungle. The light had saved him, but the radio still crackled, offering no response to his call. Hours passed in agonizing silence, until finally, a voice answered. Help was on the way. As the sun rose over the island, Sam knew that he had survived the night, but the island's horrors would haunt him forever.